It's the truth, man, the future, you know.
So with regard to the current administration, what has been maybe the biggest surprise for you, or something that you just really has been put on your heart that you've learned about our president and our vice president?
Well, I have the utmost respect and admiration for our president. He has, I don't know if he even knows this, but he's given so many people hope that there's a chance to beat the bad guys and to win, and to do it with your head held high and your integrity intact. He's from Queens, New York, like me. So, but what it's shown me personally is sometimes, you know, even in the worst feeling times in your life, you think that you're never gonna come back from it, but you do. And our president shows that. He's been through every single thing a person could be through publicly. Having to constantly be lied on. It's not really that funny until you are in that person's shoes that's being lied on. You'll never understand what it feels like. That person is a human being. They have a family who has to read those lies. And that's not, and it's just not fair. But this administration is full of people with heart and soul. And they make me proud of them. Our vice president, he makes me, well, I love both of them, but they're both powerful men, smart, strong, all of that, but both of them have a...
Gosh, come on, let's get back to it.
Yeah, let's do it.
Nicki Minaj, Turning Point USA. She went out there. By now you've seen it. I got a bunch of phone calls about it.
I bet.
I'm out. I'm done. That was it. That was it. Sorry, I'm gone. I'm gone. That's it. The last dance. That was the last candle on the cake for me. Sorry. Sorry, Barbs. Sorry, Nick. Don't call me, don't text me. It is what it is. Sometimes how y'all move around out there does have an effect on how I view you, and this was one of them things. I'd be a fool to think that you didn't consider that before you did it.
I'm sure.
Which just says to me that you really don't give. I'm even more baffled. I don't even know how much of this conversation I could have, but they're so anti-transgender, which is confusing to me because I've been to the Nicki concert.
That's the thing. Yep.
I'm so confused by so much of what was said on that stage.
Yeah, I watched the whole thing, hoping that maybe it was going to be impartial or there was a reason, but she was just echoing a lot of the that you would expect to be echoed.
I remember
highly disappointing.
Oh,
same.
Yeah,
extremely disappointed.
I'm not disappointed.
Very anti-black of you. Very anti-black of you. Let's just call it what it is. You were saying?
Oh no! I'm not disappointed just because I've come to expect.
Had no expectation.
Yeah, or I expected that. Unfortunately, I remember when I first criticized Nicki a couple months ago, and I said she's doing these MAGA talking points. She sounds like a MAGA person, and the Barbs came after me like, "Why are you saying she's MAGA just because she cares about X, Y, and Z?" Is she MAGA now? She's at a Turning Point conference. She's talking to Charlie Kirk's wife.
Talking about how handsome Trump is.
How handsome Trump is.
No, she went crazy.
She also called J.D. Vance an assassin, which is a weird thing to say.
Crazy.
To the woman whose husband was just assassinated.
That was a very awkward.
It was just, you could
30
pick any
seconds.
other word, right? It was like, oh, what is happening here?
Didn't she? All little girls mattered when talking about that. It was a hot ass mess on that stage.
It was.
That's exactly.
Like there's no way to sugarcoat it.
Right.
I'm done. I'm off.
And I think part of that is because we respect Nicki's mind and her autonomy. In other words, I don't think she's being duped. I don't think she's a patsy. I think she knows exactly what she's doing. She's making a choice, and I strongly disagree with that choice. And so I can't rock with it. I still think she's a great MC. She's probably top 10 ever for me. Male, female, dead, a lot, whatever. I think she's just a great artist. But the choices she's making in life are
culture is being held captive by influences, songs, and role models.
Happy holidays to y'all, man. Hope y'all enjoyed y'all Christmas, man. Hope y'all enjoy y'all New Year. But I'm trying to talk about this whole Nicki Minaj situation, right? They out here canceling Nicki. They are upset with Nicki right now over this whole Turning Point situation where Nicki was up there with Charlie Kirk's wife, Erica Kirk. Y'all heard Joe Budden. You know it don't hit the fan when Joe Budden is calling out Nicki, basically disowning Nicki, saying they ain't cool no more, right? Y'all know Joe Budden, he be kissing Nicki's ass, right? But I guess this is the last straw for Joe Budden, because in the black community right now, supporting Trump is worse than being a gang member, okay? I'm just letting y'all know. Supporting Trump is worse than being a drug dealer, okay? Supporting Trump is worse than shooting up the neighborhood. This is what it's looking like, right? So Nicki got up there supporting Trump or whatever, calling out Gavin Newsom on the whole transitioning kid situation, on that situation. I stand with Nicki, you know what I'm saying? Now you got people over here like, why is Nicki doing this? She's trying to get her husband pardoned. She's not a citizen, or like they're just in disbelief right now, right? Some of the barbers are calling her out. They're disappointed with Nicki. I'm like, look, people can support whoever they want to support, right? I've been saying this. I'm not a Democrat or a Republican. I'm just sitting back laughing for real, right? Because it's funny to see them scramble around and get done like this, right? A lot of these barbs, we already know black women support the Democratic Party by a 90% pop. So I'm like, wow, what's going to happen here? The Queen Nicki has went MAGA. What they going to do? So now I believe there's a situation going on where there's basically a battle between the love for Nicki and the hatred for Trump. And Nicki's finding out the hatred for Trump is overriding the love for Nicki with a lot of people. Now, I believe there's still barbers who's going to rock with Nicki. You know what I'm saying? But it's funny when you look at these celebrities, when they support the right, they start talking some sense in some cases, right? Nicki also spoke on, this is where I think a lot of black women was upset with Nicki, because Nicki was basically telling black women to basically leave white girls alone, stop bullying white girls, basically, stop attacking white girls. All women should not be attacking other women, right? We shouldn't be hating on white girls. White girls should be able to express themselves and be pretty without getting attacked, right? And you got a lot of black women looking at Nicki like, we know you ain't talking. You steady attacking people. You steady calling out people. You steady making people feel bad, right? And I believe that's a good point. We know Nicki mean and Nicki's hard to deal with. Nicki curses people out. She got up there playing pretty and all that. Yeah, we know that. If you want to call Nicki a hypocrite for calling out black women who call out other people, you can have a point on that. I'm not gonna argue with you on that, right? I'm just like, Why can't Nicki support who she want to support? Y'all ain't had no problem when Cardi B got up there and was supporting Kamala Harris, was supporting Planned Parenthood to end little ones. Y'all wasn't crying then. Y'all wasn't crying when Kelly Rowland and all of them was supporting who they wanted to support. Y'all wasn't crying then. But now that Nicki has went up there, because, you know, they're saying, yeah, Nicki, you know, Charlie Kirk was talking shit about hip hop and calling you out, saying how you ain't a good role model for young girls. Now, I don't agree with a lot of things Charlie Kirk have said. I disagree with his whole George Floyd take or whatever, but when he said the take he gave about the rap music, I don't agree with it entirely. Like him trying to basically say there shouldn't be no rap. Black folks should go back to the old music they made. I disagree with that. Now, if you want to call out gangster rap and all the other type raps, okay, you might have a point, but all rappers don't rap gangster music, right? There are plenty of other rappers who just be rapping to rap. And when rap was created, gangster music wasn't how it was created, right? But they was pointing out how Charlie Kirk called out Nicki, said her music wasn't good for young girls. He was calling out Cardi B's WAP song, making that song about WAP and all that. You know, he might have had a little point on that, but that old clip was going viral where people was pointing to that. Like, look, Nicki, you out here on stage with Erica Kirk while Charlie Kirk was dissing you. What's wrong with Nicki? We disappointed in Nicki. Woo woo. I'm like, damn. You know, I am like, well, Nicki should have seen this coming, right? When you have 90% of your fan base basically black women, and we know black women support the Democratic Party at a 90% pop, of course you're gonna get pushback from them, especially when you're basically calling them out for getting that Becky and them. You know what I'm saying? You already know that. Look, they not trying to sing Kumbaya and hold hands with Becky and them, right? They want to be the only most oppressed group, because in reality, they can say they are. Why am I saying this? Because they are black and they are a woman. So they are a black woman. They're 2 times victimized, right? Because, you know, women like to be victims no matter the race. Now, as a woman, and all the women know we are impressed, and, you know, the patriarchy and all that, right? So black women are the most oppressed with their talking points because, like I said, they're black and they are a woman, right? But you had that going on. You would have thought Nicki got on stage and was just saying like crazy shit, right? Like calling black people niggers and shit like that, right? The way they was out here crying, going in on Nicki, or she ain't the culture, woo woo. I'm like, damn, y'all mad, ain't y'all? I'm not tripping about it. I believe Nicki can do whatever she wants to do. I don't believe people should be getting canceled for their political affiliations and things like that, regardless if it's Democrat or Republicans, right? Because they don't keep the same energy. Then you got Joe Budden over there talking about Nicki's anti-trans. I guess his point was it'd be a lot of trans at her shows and things like that. Hey, which is probably true, but this whole thing started with the whole Gavin Newsom thing with the trans kids and woo woo. So you got all that going on. And like I said, I can support this point on that party. I can support that point on that party. You don't have to 100% agree with people. Number one, nobody's going to 100% agree with everything somebody says or does, or agree with everything a party does. Now, I will say Nicki was doing a lot of ass kissing, you know what I'm saying? A lot of Trump ass kissing, but hey, that's on her, right? But it's funny to see these joints squirm like this, and their god, because you know Nicki's like a god to some of these hoes, right? These hoes worship Nicki. Nicki say jump, they say how high. So I wanted to see this dynamic. I had to read the comments. I had to see this, right? This is almost like when black women go up against the LGBT community or something like that, right? I just grab my popcorn. Because if there's a group that can go up against the LGBT and the consequences don't be as harsh, will be black women. They're the only ones, because black women, if y'all didn't know, black women are the only group in America that can talk shit about anybody and literally nothing gonna happen to them. Nothing gonna happen to them. They're the only group that can do this, respect. Right? That's why they say whatever they want to say. I can fool, say whatever. Nothing happens to them. This is why they're the most group on these body cam, police footages and all this, and the biggest group of women who beating up people, acting a fool in public, and guess what? They're not even the most locked up group of women, if you didn't know that, right? More white women and Hispanic women are locked up, not just by numbers, by rate, by a higher rate. Less black women are locked up in jail, unlike black men. Black men is a higher percent of black men in jail. We make up 13% of the men, but we're like 45% of people in jail. Black women make up 13% of the women and are only like 20% in jail. White women are the most incarcerated women in America. You know what I'm saying? One thing about Becky loved her drugs, right? But they're mad at Nicki, man, calling her out, man. This guy Joe Budden talking about he done with Nicki and he's so disappointed in Nicki. He basically, on his show, disowned Nicki, right? He wasn't real enough to, holler at Nicki behind the scenes or whatever like that and be like, man, you know what? I disagree with you, Nicki, but hey, you're still my dog. I don't believe I can be out here cutting my friend off because of who he supports politically, or like, you know what I'm saying? Nigga, you support them, that's on you. As long as you know you ain't out here doing no wild shit and we still cool, it's all good, right? But you see this more on the left, right? I haven't seen Republicans like that. Y'all can correct me if I'm wrong. Let me go back to when they won. Remember when Joe Biden won? I didn't see a bunch of daughters, wives. I didn't see them cutting off their fathers and mothers and husbands because they voted for Joe Biden. I didn't see family members disowning their cousin, their brother, because somebody voted for Barack Obama 2 times when he won. Y'all remember? Did you see an influx of people disowning family members and friends for voting for Obama? I didn't see Republicans doing this. They took the L. It was what it was. Like Trump complained about the vote count and things like that, but I didn't specifically see people being effective friends and family like I seen people disowning their uncles, they dads, they cousin, they friends, disowning them because of who they voted for. And we're seeing the same thing here. You got Joe Budden, somebody that's been cool with Nicki, kissing Nicki ass for years upon years now, Now all of a sudden, Nicki do the little turning point joint. You want to turn your back on Nicki and you want to call her out, and you're so disgusted with Nicki, like she got up there and said they need to bring Jim Crow back or something. It's wild. Now, I don't believe Nicki should be surprised with this. I think she should have seen this coming. You got to understand the state that we're in. You got to understand your fan base, right? I do believe Nicki thought that her fans loved her more than they hate Trump. And she's finding out a lot of them hate Trump more than they love you, Nicki. This is why they're canceling you, right? To a point where Nicki, I believe, deactivated her Instagram account, right? They've been going in on her so hard. She done deactivated her Instagram account. Now, just like you're gonna have a lot of people trying to cancel Nicki and be mad at Nicki, Nicki's also gonna gain more respect from some other people, some other groups, right? We know that black men tend to vote Republican more than black women, even though it's still not that large of amount, right? Like 70-80% of black men still voted for Kamala Harris. You know what I'm saying? Let's be clear. Like 90%, maybe 93% of black women voted for Kamala Harris. You know what I'm saying? So we already know what it is, man. Anytime you got somebody like Nicki getting up there supporting Trump like she just was and talking the way she was talking, you're going to get backlash. I'm not surprised about the backlash or whatever like that. I'm just more surprised at the amount of backlash and how much the backlash is, as far as it being Nicki Minaj, right? Her own fans is just turning on her. I would have never thought that like Barb's would be turning on her like that, right? Because you know a lot of these fans of these female rappers and singers, you know, they're loyal. All this showed me was that the hatred for Trump is deep as hell, my nigga. To a point where you got Barbs calling out Nicki Minaj for supporting Trump, right? And I believe it's so deep. If Beyonce came out supporting Trump and did what Nicki did, it'll probably be just as much backlash, man. I ain't even gonna hold you. I don't believe we have ever seen a president hated like this, right? I believe two things is true. I don't believe we've ever seen a president be supported like this with the whole MAGA movement, and we never seen a president be hated like this, right? I believe Trump might be the most talked about president of all time in my generation that I've ever seen. Like polarizing, like of all time, whether that you love him or whether you hate him. We've never seen this in my lifetime. But hey, we're gonna see what happens with this situation, man. I don't know. I believe all Nicki gotta do is drop an album. Balls will be right back rocking with it. We're really gonna see how real this whole backlash is, right? When Nicki's album drop next year, right? Nicki got an album dropping this year. We're gonna see. Cause if Nicki album flops, then this whole situation really affected her. But if you ask me, I believe Nicki fucking around go platinum, and that's what I believe is gonna happen. I'm out.